Hello, ladies and gentlemen and Pokemon players alike. Welcome to the very first episode of Firestorm Gym Podcast. We'll be featuring on YouTube, on the podcast app, on SoundCloud, on any other way that this can get into your ears and into your head and whatever else. I am Ben.
I'm Benji.
If that gets confusing, we do apologise. You know, we didn't plan to have the same name.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, I am the better Ben now.
He's now older, so technically I had my name first. But
okay, sure. We are going to be bringing you this fabulous podcast, which will be free. It'll be fun. We're going to be talking about what decks are great right now, what's hot right now, who's hot right now, good techs that we think are coming into the format. We're going to be covering, a fun deck every week that we're going to be building just out of, things we pluck out of the air, cards that you pull in those packs and you just go, wow, that is trash. And
we're also here to answer your questions too, so if there's anything you want to know, anything you want us to discuss, by all means drop us a comment and we'll be happy to pick that up for you.
Yeah, I mean that's a really important point, to be fair. So because we're always this is for you guys essentially. This is just two friends who are coming together.
It's a bit of fun. We want to give you a bit of entertainment, but at the same time give you some information. Whether you're a player that's been playing for a while, whether you're brand new to the game, wherever it may be, hopefully you'll enjoy some part of this, whatever it is.
Because as our slogan goes, you might like this, but
no promises.
There are no promises. So just a bit of background about ourselves. I started playing the game around Breakpoint. I've always been into Pokemon. I've played all the VG games, but I picked up the cards around then. I had an instant attraction to Greninja Break. I just really liked the way it worked with the free retreat and the water shurikens. I think I've become pretty adept with it, but I'm still pretty jank. I'm not going to lie.
There's always a lot to learn. Some decks obviously take a lot more piloting. I'm running Veltal at the moment, which I am actually really struggling with. It's really difficult, but it's also a lot of fun. My favourite type's electric, so I started with the Raikou Magnezone deck initially. I moved on to the Raikou Electro deck, which was a lot of fun. But yeah, we're both in the same boat. We've been playing around the same amount of time, and we're really looking forward to this next set.
Yeah, this next set, I can't wait. It's a similar game style to what I've been playing with Greninja. I just think there's a lot of interesting cards, especially with the introduction of the new GX Pokemon. If you guys haven't seen that. They have new attacks you can only use once per game, but we'll get into that more with this episode, where we are going to actually be covering the base set of Sun and Moon. So very excited about that. Any more to add before we get into the nitty gritty of the set?
No, I don't think so. I think we're ready to go with the first card.
Alright then, so the first two cards we'll actually be covering are Solgaleo GX and Lunala GX. First off, we've got to talk about it. What do you think of the art?
Amazing. I really like it. I think it's a step up from EX, to be honest with you. For me, when the Sun and Moon VGC came out, I played Sun purely because of Solgaleo. I think it's an awesome looking Pokemon, and I think the card just really complements it. What do you think?
It's just the fact they're all full art for me. I don't even have to like the Pokemon, and the art just looks badass. I can't, and then I can't wait to actually pull a full art version of what is already a full art. But but the cards just look really good, which oftentimes makes me want to play things more as well, which is weird, but
it's probably a bad thing. I've played some cards because they look cool, and I'm playing them like, oh well, that's jank.
So either way, the cards look pretty, but are they good? So we'll cover Solgaleo GX first, which has base HP of 230, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong though. And it has one of the most interesting abilities since Keldeo, which is really hot and expanded right now. So it is Ultra Road, and once during your turn before you attack, you may switch your active Pokemon with one of your other Pokemon. Now that to me,
that's really interesting.
Yeah, that is Keldeo without a float stone.
Yeah.
It just gives you a lot of options in the game. It lets you switch in and out. It lets you get out of those status conditions. It is just a good, handy ability to have in your deck.
With anything.
Exactly. I do think. And then obviously it's got its move. Its move pretty much is 3 energy, 2 steel, 1 colorless, correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Sunsteel Strike, and it does 230 damage.
Knocking out pretty much everything.
It does have the condition of discarding all the energy after, but I just feel like with it, it pretty much
also
knocks
makes it
everything
worth
out.
it. It makes it
Yeah.
pretty worth it. It's one of those cards where you'd kind of get your opponent kind of thinking, oh no, it's Solgaleo, especially if you got it loaded up with the energy. Your opponent's going to know that one of his cards is pretty much going to go.
I do think it's a strong attack. As much as you can't, you have to discard the energy. Ultra Road, switch into the other Pokemon straight away, and you've got someone else stepping up straight after on your next turn. I just think it's a really good amount of synergy just from one card, like with itself. But the most amazing part about this card is Soul Burst GX. Now, as we said before, you can only use these GX moves once a game, which means that, realistically as a player, you want them to have an effect that is going to change the game in your favour, and this definitely does.
This is going to be interesting. It's going to come down to time and who plays their move at the right time. What move are you going to use? But for me, this has one Steel Energy, which is unbelievable. You can do that straight off the bat. Search your deck for up to 5 energy cards and attach them to your Pokemon in any way you like, then shuffle your deck. So for me, that is an amazing way to start off.
Not only that, it's just the fact of that last little phrase, any way you like, is just, any way you like it, just like Subway.
Imagine if you had another Solgaleo on the bench. You're pretty much loading up the Sunsteel Strike right there, and then you've still got 2 energy cards which you can then attack to another Pokemon.
It is an absolutely phenomenal move. I just think that with that, that's 5 turns essentially that you need to get those energies down, and you're doing it all in one turn for 1 energy, which by the way could be a secret rare metal energy from the new set, which will make it 10 times better. So
wait, we're going to be playing the pre-release this weekend, and that's a 40 card deck and 4 prize cards. So if you pull this bad boy, you're gonna have a pretty good weekend.
Yeah, I think you're gonna be leaving there with a lot of prizes at the end of the day. But that definitely won't be you because you're a scrub.
I do not pull anything. That's right.
So I really do think Solgaleo is strong, but is its counterpart Lunala as strong? No, in my opinion.
Really not.
It's really not.
It's not.
The ability is good. I mean, Psychic Transfer, as often as you like before you attack during your turn, you can move a Psychic Energy from one Pokemon to another. It reminds me of Aromatisse. Aromatisse was very niche. It was only really played in Fairy decks and stuff. But this is a Stage 2.
Yeah.
And Aromatisse was a Stage 1. I think it could be very good, but I don't think Psychic is a real strong type at the minute. I know you have Mewtwo, but Gardevoir's doing so well at the minute. Yeah. I haven't seen Mewtwo around for a while, except for the last couple of sort of League Cups and regionals recently. But I don't know. This probably would have been a lot more.
With everything. That's the problem we've got, isn't it?
I think it would have been a lot more exciting maybe 6 months ago when Mewtwo was really being played a lot.
And I guess you're probably going to have to build a deck around this card if you want it to work more than just being a generic deck.
Now don't get me wrong, this could be good in a couple of sets time where we might have other Psychic because we still have a Alolan Raichu to come.
We're gonna get a lot. Yeah.
We still have a Alolan Raichu to come. There are a lot of good Psychic types. As much as Bruxish is the worst Pokemon ever, the card might actually be. Please get out.
I think it looks cool.
But you might have other Psychic types in the future that might be good for this. But at the minute, I just find it a lot more underwhelming, especially with its attack, which is just hungry and gives you absolutely nothing from it.
Hungry.
So it's 4 energy, 4 Psychic energy at that. And it's 120 damage, and you cannot heal your Pokemon on your next turn. I just feel like for 4 energy, and that's the best effect they could come up with, that is not great.
Can you name a deck that you've played against in the last few months that's been heavily healing every turn?
I would say the only thing is Greninja, and that is
You're using Rough Seas, but then even that is.
No, I mean, you run Max Potion in Greninja, so but at the same time though, Greninja only needs 1 energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's very different. It's built a lot different to everything in this format, because obviously we're running around basics with the X's, but I'm talking, your Yveltal, that's not going to use that.
No. I mean, 120, it is not enough for me. Of course, you're taking out the Shamans, but 120 is not really taking out anything. For 4 Psychic Energy, you'd be expecting to do a lot more damage.
Exactly, because I can think of plenty of other things that do that much damage for probably half the energy.
Less,
So that's the only letdown I think of this, because Lunafall GX isn't terrible. I mean, it's 3 Psychic Energy, and you can knock out any basic Pokemon. except Pokemon GX. And I guess, again, that's sort of like talking about the last phrase of a card. Not being able to knock out those GX cards. It's just...
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it's just not, I think, to be able to keep up at the minute. As we said, it may become better, but at the minute, I just don't think it is good enough.
I mean, we're looking at the cards side by side right now, and for me, I think Solgaleo, the ability I'd give to Solgaleo, Sunsteel Strike is absolutely a lot more, it is a better move.
Yeah, I would agree.
And then we've got the GX move, which, again, personally, I'd favour Solgaleo. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely favour Solgaleo. In fact, I'm even considering, building something around Solgaleo. I think you've got a lot of options. You can even use steel, shield energy with this, which is, special steel energy, because Solburst does not specify what type of energy.
No.
You can get DCE, you can get shield energy, you can get whatever you like for this card, which is just so good. I just cannot put in words how effective that might be.
It's going to be interesting. I think we're going to see a lot of decks, not necessarily built around Solgaleo, but they will include Solgaleo.
I do
just
agree.
For that.
However, it will be interesting to see if it fits in straight away due to the fact that it is a stage 2.
Yeah.
I know that, the format is looking like it'll slow down a bit evolutions-wise, because you can't just throw down that basic at the start of the game. And I know Soul Burst does speed up the game massively in your favour when you lose that sort of momentum from building.
It's going to be
up.
one of those, I'm behind, oh wait, look what I
Exactly,
can do.
which is why I just think it's so much better, because you're looking at Lunala and you're sort of going, I'm evolving into this, and realistically, I'm still not doing enough.
Yeah.
So, covering those, we will be moving on to what a lot of people are saying is going to be the best deck in the format to kick off, which is Lurantis GX. It is just an absolutely incredible looking card, in my opinion. 210 HP. Obviously, it is a stage 1. It evolves from Formantis. And the first move, for 1 grass energy, flower supply, sorry.
Power supply!
40 damage, and attach 2 basic energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. It is,
That's sweet.
That is sweet.
Pretty cool.
Obviously, you've got to go through the motions of trying to get that grass energy into the discard, but I just think...
There's enough there. There's enough cards there.
Yeah, there's enough cards there to be able to do that. I just think, for 1 energy as well, and you're still doing 40 damage as well.
Yeah.
So,
1 energy.
It's really good. Obviously, you do have then Solar Blade for 120. It is 2 grass energy and a colourless for 120. It's a lot like Lunala. I think it is... It's good, but it's not amazing. You do get to heal the 30 damage from yourself as well, but it's not amazing. I wouldn't build this deck around that. I would more build it around the GX move, which seems to be absolutely amazing. So, what is it? Is it
Chlorosynth?
Chlorosynth. I feel like
that's what we'll call it. Chlorosynth.
Yeah, I feel
Chlorosynth
like I'm in a year
GX.
7 maths class, science class right now even. So that is 50 times the amount of grass energy
this
you have
attack does
attached.
50 damage times the number of grass energy attached to this Pokemon. Wow.
200 damage for 4.
Yeah.
So, again, like going back to Lunala, not to keep hitting back on it, but you're doing 4 energy, 120 damage. With this, you're doing, you can attack, you can do 50 for 1.
Yeah.
I'm saying if you've got 4 attacks, you do 200 damage.
It's 1 move per game, so you're going to make the most of it. You're going to get a knockout, right?
Exactly. So 200 damage for 4 energy. It's instantly already good. And then all I can think about running this with is Vileplume. As much as everyone hates someone who sits down and puts down an item lock deck and then just smiles in your face while you're sitting there trying to struggle the way through your deck, Vileplume will just suit this a treat.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're able to set up really quick using that flower supply, and your opponent sort of sat there thinking, I really hate you right now because I can't do anything to catch up.
Even talking about these cards now, I'm really, really excited to see what decks come from it, because we've heard a few already. We've heard a few ideas of what's going to be made, but I think this time next month we're going to see a lot of new decks.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, already as well. So we'll move on to the next card straight away, and it's sort of already you're starting to see things that can be partnered with Shiinotic. And Shiinotic, straight away with its ability, with Forest of Giant Plants around, you can evolve straight away into that, and you can get a grass Pokemon out from your deck and drop it. So you can straight away start setting yourself up with that.
Really quick.
I just think grass is going to be so strong with Forest of Giant Plants. Yeah. It's just, it was already strong, when Sceptile was sort of being played and stuff like that. And then Yanmega made a bit of an appearance around the time, and Vespiquen and stuff like that. But it's just so strong.
It's grass time now.
Yeah, it is grass time. And
I mean, look at this ability, Illuminate. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may search your deck for a grass Pokemon, reveal it and put it into your hands, shuffle your deck afterwards. I mean,
it's just, it straight away sort of finds itself into so many grass decks. Straight away. As well as that, it's only a stage 1. You only have to evolve it once. You could even run a 1/1 line as that. As much as that's risky, I just feel like you throw it in there, and if you get to use it, you do. If you don't, it doesn't really ruin the overall flow of the deck.
You're only losing 1 card to a knockout, so...
Yeah. Straight away. And then, the third sort of grass type in the set is Decidueye. And Decidueye GX... Again, it's just another card that is absolutely insane. 240 HP. I
mean, it looks pretty awesome.
The art amazing straight away.
It is a really, really good looking card again.
I just can't believe, that's 240 HP. That's 10 off a Wailord, and I sort of feel like we're getting so much HP.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at if you put the 2 Pokemon aside, I don't know how they could have the same HP, but hey, I'm not going to argue. Card. He's a good card.
He's a good card. I mean, straight off, the ability, once during your turn before you attack, you may put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. So that is pretty much Greninja.
Yeah, I mean,
minus 40
per turn. So you're doing that, every turn.
And not only that, man, again, Forest of Giant Plants, you could get 3 of these dudes out and you're doing 60 damage before you even attack.
Yeah.
Before you even
do anything, you're doing 60 damage.
So I just think this card is going to be insane. Again, I think there's a lot of different things you can run it with. The only sort of letdown to this card, I think, is Razor Leaf. 1 grass, 2 colorless for 90 damage. It could be better.
Again, though, you stick 1 DC, 1 grass, 90 damage. It's not overly bad, but yeah, you are right. It could be better.
It could be better, but then I think, they have to do that to sort of nerf it out, because I think if it had an attack that did over 100 and that ability, it would just be absolutely insane. There would be no stopping that card otherwise. No. And then finally, quickly moving on to the GX move. It is Hollow Hunt GX for 1 grass, and you can put 3 cards from your discard pile into your hand. What do you think about that?
It's interesting as you're going to be able to get the item cards out.
Yeah.
Which you haven't been able to do. So, you're going to have some really good things you can pull back from that. You can get your VS Seekers, so on. So, yeah, I actually like that. Is it worth the using it as 1 turn when I look at some of the others? In my opinion, I don't really think so. It's going to be useful, I agree, but... I would have liked a little bit better from that. What do you think?
I sort of agree. I think that it is definitely one of those GX moves that we're going to be looking at where if it's used at the right time, hey dude, the game's yours. Yeah, exactly. You could grab the exact 3 cards that you needed and you can just win the game right there. But then at the same time, as you said, you have one per game.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the case where I feel like you could use it and you could set yourself up. You might not win the game, and then 3 turns down the line, you could go, wow, I could definitely use it here as well, and I just don't have it. So, I don't know. I think it is definitely good, but as well as that, you do have things, like Special Charge. You do have things like Super Rod that already fill up a lot of spaces in a deck. Which is why it could also be good, because, you could drop those spaces.
Yeah, you
could save those spaces.
Absolutely.
Allowing you to run, maybe more Forest of Giant Plants, more things to go with this, another line of Shiinotic to get out those Decidueye and Dartrix and stuff like that. So, I do think it has its niche, but I wouldn't say it's the best of the GX moves.
No.
However...
It's still good. I'd still rate it as one of the higher GX cards. Yeah, I mean, the ability is fantastic. Can't get away from that.
It is literally like an attacking Octillery, pretty much,
with a massive amount of HP.
Exactly. Yeah.
How many times are you going to be able to do that before you get taken out?
It's just Forest, isn't it? Forest of Giant Plants is just going to be so strong. However, though, moving on to an interesting card, which is Tauros GX. I think this card is too conditional. I mean, I know a lot of cards have a lot of conditions on them, especially with the timing of the GX move and stuff, but for me, you've got to take damage counters to do anything with this card, and that to me just doesn't light up.
No.
You've got Rage, which is, 20 damage plus 10?
20 for 20 damage plus 10 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. So you're already going to have to take damage, which is not good. I mean, it's not something you particularly like doing to yourself. You want to keep your cards clean, so... Yeah, I mean, it's going to take 1 DC, which is always nice, you know.
Well, I mean, even more interestingly, everything costs 1 DC on this card, doesn't it? So that is a real plus side, I guess,
Horn
for this
attack,
card.
60 damage. Obviously, this is a basic as well, so, I mean, you can put that out there straight away, attach a DCE, and you're doing 60 from the start. But again, this is a GX. You'd expect it to do a lot more damage.
Yeah, I agree. What does the GX move actually do? I don't think I've looked too much into this.
The GX move is Mad Bull, and this attack does 30 times the number of damage counters on this Pokemon. So you're pretty much doing Rage again, except for this time you're not doing the 20 damage at the beginning and then 10 more for each damage counter. You're just going to do a straight off 30 damage times the number of damage counters on this Pokemon. So I guess you could just put him there, Horn attack, Horn attack, Horn attack, until he's built up some damage, and then use the Mad Bull for the knockout.
Again, I agree with what I said at the start before we even started discussing that. I think it's too conditional, man, because what you don't want to do is leave him up there too long, and it's very much, things will be able to one-shot
It's going to be a card for a card, isn't it? Yeah, you're taking them out, but guess what? You're going to be taken out. So... Yeah, I'm not in favour of this, but...
Especially for 2 prize cards, I just think it's a bit risky to have to take damage first.
Absolutely.
I guess Max Potion's always an option, if you take the damage and then they can't necessarily 2-shot you, so you Max Potion it off and start again, essentially, with the DC, start doing 60 with a Horn attack. But I think it could be one of those cards that finds its way into a deck just as an extra basic and an attacker.
Yeah.
Sort of like Talonflame.
I mean, you never know. There may be things released in the future with the the other packs coming along that may benefit this card and may do something.
Yeah.
But for me, there's nothing that stands out when I look at it and think, oh wow, that's going to work.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. So moving on from that, which is pretty underwhelming, we are moving on to just my favourite part of this set, because we have the Eevee back. Energy evolution, you slap a dark or a psychic energy on this and you can become one of 2, Umbreon GX or Espeon GX. Now what do you think of that?
Love it.
I
love it.
I'm so excited for this deck. I think this is going to be the first deck I go for, just because it's quick, you can get the Eevees out, you can evolve them straight away, and even better, I'll be even more cheeky, and I'll be running it with the 4 Eevee, I'll be running it with my Umbreon GX, and I'll be running it with 1 Vaporeon, 1 Jolteon, and 1 Flareon, so I can hit everything under the sun for weakness. Exactly.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm just real excited for this. So I mean, that's really the only thing about Eevee, so we'll jump straight into Umbreon GX, which the art looks unreal.
Umbreon is my favourite Pokemon of all time. I've got the Umbreon playmat. I mean, I even love the Umbreon GX, especially EX. The full art. I loved it, but this just wow.
It's just so pretty, and the actual sort of textured full art as well is just real nice. I think they've put a lot of work into this card.
Yeah.
But either way, straight off the bat, you slap that energy on Eevee, you can evolve straight away, and then straight away you can attack with Strafe, I believe is the name of the attack. Strafe. 30 damage. You may switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. Like straight away off the bat, you're doing 30 damage.
Retreat.
Yeah, exactly. So, and not only that, it says you may as well, so you don't necessarily have to retreat if you don't want to, so that's always a good option. And then this guy just reminds me of Darkrai, which is even better because you've got Shadow Bullet, 1 dark and 2 double colourless, which is even better than Darkrai, because Darkrai was 2 dark and a colourless. So you're doing 90 damage.
Again.
Exactly. You're doing 90 damage and you're doing 30 to the bench, and I just think that is so strong. It is consistent, it is strong. I think you'll be able to get that off most games without any sort of problem, especially with the energy evolution.
And then don't forget, if you are in trouble, you can always go back to doing the 30 damage and retreat him off.
Exactly.
Maybe get some healing, or at least save yourself from being knocked out.
I just think this card is real good. But then I think the only letdown for me is sort of the GX attack. I don't think it's terrible, but again, I think it's one of those very conditional ones. If you just want to read it off for us real quick.
So we got Nightcry, discard 2 energy cards attached to your opponent's Pokemon in play. So yeah, it slows your Pokemon down, but is it really a one-time, one-game move? I don't think
exactly.
so.
Like, I think, again, it is another one of those moves where you could win the game if you did it at the right time.
Yeah.
You
But
could
then
stop
you could say that, you know, if it had a different move, that could also win the game. But for me, I don't see that as being a one-off GX move. You know, when you look at the other, you know, you look at Shadow Bullet, and I think it's awesome. I'd expect Nightcry to be a little bit better.
Yeah, I think with it as well that you've got to take into mind, you have got cards already like Team Flagrant. You've got Crushing Hammers.
You've got things that are going to do that.
You know, and you've got things already that fill up a lot of deck spots. So again, a lot like Decidueye, you could save yourself some deck space by having that ability. But I just don't think for a GX attack it is that great. But I think Umbreon overall is a real good card. But jumping over to the counterpart, which is Espeon EX, it's another Lunala situation. I just think Umbreon's a lot better.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know. Again, you can sort of get the evolution straight away from Eevee. You can do that 30 damage straight away, and
you'll leave your opponent confused.
And you leave them confused. So I guess that is it's okay. Like, I would say that's.
But by this time, I mean, you'd expect to have a little bit more energy on the Pokemon. You'd be expecting to do a bit more damage from that. So with that, we're going to just talk about the second move, which is Psychic, which takes one Psychic and a DCE, and you're doing 60 damage, plus it does 30 more for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So we've seen that in the past quite a lot.
For me, it's just not enough. I don't know. I just think Umbreon, you're slapping the energy on there, and you've got a guaranteed 90 and a 30. With Espeon, you're sort of setting up, hoping to get more damage.
And there's so many cards out there which, you know, that's not really going to hurt. When you look at Greninja, for example, you know, you're doing 60 and 30 for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. You know, you're going to have one energy maybe, so you're hitting for 90. And you're not doing anything to the bench. So yeah, you're right there. Umbreon definitely
outshines that. What about the GX attack though? What are we sort of thinking about that?
Division, put 10 damage counters on.
Oh, one sec. A bit of technical difficulty.
Technical difficulty.
Yeah, I think that you just locked your phone by accident. There we go.
Right, so let's ignore what just happened. Division, put 10 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like. Again,
Average.
If they've got a couple of Pokemon on their bench which, you know, have got a bit of damage, you can maybe get a couple of knockouts. But then there's a lot, you know, most decks aren't going to be like that.
I can think of one deck where that attack will be nuts, which is Gyarados with the Team Aqua's base. I just think, you know, you're dropping all those damage counters. But again, it's sort of, you know, with Umbreon, you're already doing 30 to the bench.
Yeah.
And I think you're doing a guaranteed 90 then to the active. And I sort of feel like that is a GX move that is
wasted.
Probably even worse. Yeah, like probably even worse than Umbreon's straight up attack. So again, it's just another GX move that's quite underwhelming, which seems to be the case with a lot of them. I think they're trying to nerf a lot of these cards so they don't become too good.
I mean, for me, this GX would suit Umbreon a lot more, because if you're doing the 90 and then the 30 to the bench, and then you're able to go and put 10 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way you like, I think that would work a lot nicer.
Yeah, I definitely agree that would be more suited. But then Umbreon's GX would definitely not be suited to Espeon, because you don't want to be discarding energy when you need them to do damage. So let's not switch those around.
We won't.
So moving on again, we have got Lapras GX, which I'm pretty sure you have the stuff on. Yeah, that's right. So start us off.
Right, so we've got Lapras, which 190 health, which is a little bit less than some of the other GX
But it
cards.
is a basic.
It is, yeah. So you got the benefit of not having to evolve with Lapras, and the first move only takes 1 water energy, and you're drawing 3 cards. So I mean, you get that at the beginning of the game. I mean, it's going to speed up your game pretty quick.
But then, N.
Yeah, you've got N. I mean, you have got N, but you know, you're going to get your opponent to have to.
I mean, playing Greninja, I know the sort of like all I see around me are familiar faces part when I sort of draw what I want from a Talonflame, and then I get it all end away, and I sort of want to die inside, and you know, I just feel like
you see that happening. But then it's a bit of a gamble, you know. You're going to have to build Lapras up anyway, so whilst you've got the 1 energy on there, why not draw 3 cards?
Yeah, well, I agree. what about the second move?
Blizzard Burn. Now this takes 3 water energy, and it actually does 160 damage. This disables Lapras from being able to attack next turn. So, for me, 160, is it enough?
No, I think that has been the discussion for the last year with EXs. I think that everyone wants to be able to hit 170. That's been the way it has been for sort of this format at the minute. 170 is the target. 160 falls right below it, but I do think it can be partnered with a lot of water toolbox stuff. I mean, if you partner it with Regice, Manaphy to get that free retreat when you can't attack during your next turn. There are a lot of options. I think it could see some play, but...
I mean, this is basic as well, so we could put a Fighting Fury belt on this.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, you're then boosting the HP to, 230, and you're doing 170, so all of a sudden it's not looking too bad. Then you are having to skip a turn next turn with Lapras.
I think Manaphy could really help that out, though. I mean, with having the free retreat with the water energy, but it just depends on whether you can set up to your Lapras or not. It's another card where I think it may see a bit of play, but I don't know. I think Water Toolbox is still looking for a face of it. It's still looking for a new attacker after Seismitoad, because nothing's just been as good as Seismitoad since.
So
I think people will try it definitely, but I don't know if it'll quite meet the mark and make Water Toolbox as powerful as it used to be. The GX attack, though, I think is terrible.
It's awful. I don't even want to read it, to be honest with you. It is actually that bad. So it's going to take 2 water energy and a colourless for 100 damage. So your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. That is poor. That is really poor.
It's just not even 100 damage isn't even enough to get a 2-hit KO with a lot of things.
You're not taking out Shaman.
It is not good.
And to leave your opponent paralyzed again, even that it's not enough for a GX move, in my opinion.
I think again it could be maybe used in 1 or 2 situations. For example, if you do know that you're gonna lose the game next turn, which you often find yourself in, where you're losing games. But I just feel like if it was an ability, it would probably be a lot better. Yeah. But it's just not. It's your only GX move of the game again, which is again underwhelming.
I mean, Blizzard Burn, the standard attack is better than the GX attack. That should be.
Yeah, I would say so. So, yeah, moving on from Lapras to probably... the most hated card just ever, in my opinion. I just hate Gumshoes. It looks like Donald Trump, who no one really likes in the first place. It's just, I can't even put in words how much I hate this card. The art does my head in. It does my head in. Burn it.
I'm going to play it against you just for that reason then.
I have a feeling if you play it against me, I will ban you from Firestorm from this day forward. But moving into it, for those of you who do like Gumshoes, sorry if I just made you a bit upset, but there we go. Its ability is something trash, but please read it.
Search the premises. Once during your turn, before you attack, you may have your opponent reveal their hand. Crap.
Well, I
mean, you can check the N, but that's pretty much it. If you're going to N, you can look at the card hand and think, yeah, okay, I want to do that, I don't want to do that, but still, not for me.
I just hate this card. But again, please read the attack. Carry on.
Headbutt, bounce. 100 damage for 3 colourless energy. So...
I just can't.
I mean, I'm really, really trying hard to say something positive about this, but I can't.
3 energy for 100. I just can't. Like, why did they make a GX card for this card? I just don't. This is going to be another one of those things where it's like Doduo, where it's just loved, and they're just going to try and make it as good as possible. It's so trash. Like,
it's not.
And then what is that GX move?
Gumshoe Chance. So, it's doing 10 damage, plus this attack does 50 more damage times the amount of energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon.
Why would you... Like, we already said that we didn't like Espeon because it had a normal attack, so why on earth would you waste your only GX?
I mean, what would you say, the average amount of energy per Pokemon? I mean,
I would say 3.
2, 3, so even with 3, you're only doing 160 damage
Which
off
just
the
doesn't
GX
cut the
move,
mark.
which is just not enough.
So can we just move on from this card,
just...
please? So
we should probably just skip this card, to be honest.
To be honest with you, we did say at the start we were talking about cards that were going to make a difference, and this definitely will not be. So, yeah, we will move on to the next card, which is Lycanroc GX. And this is actually the more liked midday form. Personally, I prefer the midnight form.
Not for me.
In the game. Oh, okay, that's fine. It sort of looked like Zoroark's retarded brother.
Yeah.
Which I really like personally.
Lycanroc is a bit more feminine. Not that there's anything wrong with that, of course.
Oh, I mean, that sounded like you were making something wrong with that.
But I mean, it doesn't look like something that's gonna take out all your Pokemon. I mean, it looks like your little pet that sits on your lap. But I mean, I'm pretty sure the card's not going to be as bad as the Gumshoe Trump. So we're going to look quickly at the first move, which is Crunch, and it takes 1 fighting energy and a colourless, and you're doing 30 damage. Discard an energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon.
See, I think run it with strong energy, and that's not half bad.
No. I mean, again, you're slowing your opponent down whilst you're getting going. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think, again, though, it is a stage 1, so you're sort of evolving into that, then you're getting down too strong. So you could be doing a total of 70. Yeah, a total of 70. But you got to evolve into it, whereas there are decks that we have talked about that could be doing that damage turn 1
already. Yeah, you're right.
So I just think, it could see some play. I don't see why not. What's its like?
The second attack is Accelerock, which I actually liked in the VGC, which is the priority move.
Yeah, the rock one. Yeah.
So you're using 2 fighting energy and a colourless for 120 damage. Again, not fantastic.
It's not great. I just mean it's pretty base, but I think this card isn't exactly designed to be sort of the next best thing in the set. Just by looking at it, I mean the fighting isn't really strong right now either.
There's nothing that I don't think this can fit into any deck that's been.
Because you couldn't put it in Zygarde. I think Zygarde already runs Plume and stuff, and it's just you'd have to build around this, and I just think there's decks like Caesar around that are just so much better at discarding energy and stuff, but. Let's hear that GX move.
GX move, Lycanfang. So you're doing 200 damage, which obviously is a good amount. But then you're discarding 2 energy cards attached to this Pokemon. So.
And it costs 3, right?
It costs 3, yeah. So you're doing 2. It's 2 fighting, 1 colourless. It's the same as Accelerock. This time you're doing 200, and you're having to discard 2. So I mean. You're probably going to take out most things. I guess.
You've got to remember, we're thinking current format, but when it rotates out and you got the GXs, you're taking out hardly anything.
Yeah, you're not taking
except for those basic ones like Tauros and Lapras. But Lapras can, however, and Tauros run the Fury Belts. And you're not taking out everything, and you are having to discard 2, which by the looks of this card could be detrimental because you're not doing enough damage with only 2.
No.
So,
right. So you're going to have to build back up again
to do it.
I don't know. Sort of damage.
I would give this just a dead average rate. I'd give it like a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. It's just really not. It's not going to change.
I mean,
anything.
They have to make cards like this. I mean, we can't expect every GX card to be blowing.
I mean, look at some of the EX cards we have. Chestnut EX, bro. That changed the game forever.
I mean, they have to throw these cards in just for a bit of fun, and this is what we were talking about at the beginning about making fun decks. Maybe this will fit into something that we make in the future. You don't know.
Just to trigger people like hell. But yeah, I mean, obviously there are better GXs that we have talked about. But again, I do like Lycanroc as a Pokemon, and the art on this card is beautiful. I do agree. Like, if you pull it, you will be happy. It is a cool looking card. It's a cool looking Pokemon. But we are now going to move on to a fan favourite from X and Y, which was Sylveon. And Sylveon
one of your favourites?
GX. I don't like it personally. I just don't like Fairy types.
I'm the same. I just like Fairy.
Personally, I think, you can attach, you can run that EV again that evolves straight into the Sylveon, attach the Fairy Energy, and you're straight up there. How much HP does it have? Is it 210 or something? Something along those lines. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah. But, its first move, I don't rate. I don't like it.
Magical Ribbon, you don't like it?
No.
So it's going to take one Fairy Energy, and you're searching your deck for up to 3 cards, and you're putting them into your hand.
Just think N again.
It's the N problem.
Everything runs N. Everything. For me, I just think you're putting too much hope into those 3 cards. The sort of 3 cards you're obviously needing, the 3 cards you obviously want, and then they're just going to go straight back into your deck. Obviously, you can run the risk. You could come off lucky, but I highly doubt it. Its second move is even more underwhelming, personally.
Fairy Wind, so you're doing 110 damage, and you're using 1 Fairy Energy and a DCE. So, of course, you can slap 1 DCE on with your Fairy Energy that you would have already had attached, and you can do 110. But again, you're not knocking out most things, and, you're giving your opponent time to do their thing.
Exactly. Yeah, I just don't think it's good. This card is not good.
Even the GX move, return 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon and all cards attached to them to your opponent's hand.
So pretty much that is for scrubs who just aren't good enough to get the knockout, so they just put them back in your hand to trigger
have
you.
Them back. I suppose if you've got something built up, you've attached your energy, you got your tool card or what have you. It's slightly beneficial, but for me, again, it's a really underwhelming GX attack.
I just don't think the card's that great at all. If you've got the option of getting the knockout at any point, you'd rather take that than just putting it back in the hand.
Umbreon's heads and shoulders above this,
it's like 100%. I would say that's even worse than Espeon. I just don't think it's good at all. I don't think it's going to see much play.
I don't think it fits into anything, and I don't think you can build around it either. So
I think especially with a lot of good fairy decks right now. You've got Xerneas, it's Xerneas. I think anyone who calls it Xerneas is just wrong. I disagree with you, but Xerneas Break is very strong at the minute. God of War is obviously really strong.
And I don't know about you, but I can't see this fitting in any way whatsoever.
Me neither. I just don't. I think it'll fall off. I just think it'll be one of those cards that people love Sylveon, so they'll get it because the art is cute. It does follow along with that sort of like fairy type, and it is very cute, but it won't see play in my opinion at all. So interestingly, here is the first card we're going to be talking about that's just a stage 2.
Okay.
It's Vikavolt. Vikavolt does have a GX, but it also, which isn't in the set, it's in the, I think it's called the Power Up side set or something. It's a booster set that sort of has a couple of other GX cards we'll be talking about in it. But this Vikavolt is in the set, and it's a stage 2 with 150 HP, which is okay. It's not amazing, but its ability is Strong Charge. Once during your turn before you attack, you may search your deck for a Grass Energy and a Lightning Energy and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. So I don't think that's terrible. It's on a stage 2, but it would be so much better if you could.
Right? It has to be partnered with something.
But we've had things like Magnezone already, which, as you said, you used to like Raikou, like you've played it and you've experienced it. It's very hard to get the stage 2 out behind the Raikou.
Yeah.
And Magnezone didn't see that much play when Magnezone was around, and I would say Magnezone's ability was better than this.
It is. You're right, yeah.
So, I think it's okay. I think it would be better if you could sort of have maybe choose any combination of Grass and Lightning Energy you wanted, so you could get 2 Grass, and or you could get 2, exactly. You could play it with a couple more things, but I just don't think so. And then it's got a 4 energy move, 1 Lightning Energy and 3 colorless. Electro Cannon, which sounds pretty badass, but it's just really not. 150 damage, discard 3 energy attached to this Pokemon, and that just instantly puts me off. It's a stage 2, it's going to get knocked out. To discard 3 energy is absolutely detrimental. I just don't think it's good enough to be played that much. But, however, I love this GX. Vikavolt GX is awesome. Now, let me get this up. So, it is again a stage 2, but you just skip Vikavolt and you throw it down. 240 HP. Charge Beam for 1 Lightning Energy. 50 damage. Attach 1 energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Straight away to me,
I
like that.
Yeah.
I think that's good. It sets you
out
up quickly.
of all the 1 energy attacks we've seen, I'd probably say that's the best one so far.
I would say that's a really, really strong one. Along with Lurantis, I just think that is just a really good attack. But then, going to the next attack is Super Zap Cannon, 180 damage, discard 2 energy attached to this Pokemon, which isn't great because it's 4 energy. But that is not why I'm looking at this card.
Tell me.
Benji, Gigatron GX, 4 energy.
I haven't heard this, so I'm with you guys. I'm hearing this for the first time.
Gigatron GX does 60 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon.
Wow.
Now, the fun idea I've got in my head, hear me out. Pokepath. Force him to drop those basics. Force him to drop those basics, which in this format, after the EXs rotate out, could be things like puny little 60 HP, Popleos, which I would love to just shock to death, and Littens, and you could just take a load of knockouts.
A lot of prize cards there.
I know it's 4
and then
energy.
In the discard, they're going to have to get those cards back if they want to be able to go and attack you, so...
I just like that. I just think it obviously it is stage 2. It's not amazing. It's not the best card that'll be in the format, but I do think that attack could be very strong.
There's definitely potential there for this card.
I think that attack could be very, very, very strong, and you could even partner it with the other stage 2 Vikavolt. So you could get those because you can for Gigatron GX. It is 1 lightning, 3 colorless, so you could even attach those grass energies.
You could attach the grass and use it as the colorless,
which isn't terrible. So. Another GX we'll be talking about from that sort of like additional set. I'm not really sure what it is. Please let me know if you know what it is, but I've just been getting this information from my sources. But you've got Toxapex GX, which we've talked about before the video.
Yeah.
Conditional, but I think very good. So it is a psychic type. It's 210 HP, not damage. What am I talking about? For 1 psychic energy, Spike Cannon, 30 times damage, flip 4 coins. This attack does 30 damage for each number of heads. Now you flip 4 coins,
isn't it?
You flip 4 coins.
You go half. You go 50. 50%.
Exactly. You're doing 60 damage for 1 energy. I don't think that's terrible. I don't like coin flipping cards personally. I have terrible luck. As I've said before, I get donked a lot with Greninja. I just have really, really bad luck as a player. But I think for
it's
a player,
1 energy move.
Exactly. It's sort of 1 energy. Go for it. And then the second move is 3 Psychic, Ultra Toxic Poison, which is pretty much Verbank City Gym on steroids.
This is insane.
The opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned. Put 10 damage counters instead of 1 on that Pokemon in between turns.
That's going to
what is
a
that?
lot of retreats. I mean, that's disgusting.
I'm pretty sure that is what food poisoning looks like in the Pokemon world.
Pretty bad case of poison.
I
mean, I'm not sure what it's got its poison from, but I mean, Muck's probably giving it a dirty look right now. It's not good. It
is insane. I know. Now, don't get me wrong. I do understand there are things. You can just float stone out of that, and you're healed, and
But then you're forcing that to happen, aren't you? That's the thing. You're going to be forcing the opponent to do things.
But I just love how dangerous that is. I just think 10 in between turns is just a crazy amount, and. If you do hit that Spike Cannon, even if you get 130 damage and you get that 10 damage count of poison in between turns, you've just done 130 essentially in 2 turns. And then if they aren't able to get that retreat, if they don't have the float stone, if they can't play that retreat cost, that's 230 damage, goodbye. Yeah. And you haven't even had to attack yet. That will be before you start your next turn. So I do think, again, conditionally, this card may be able to be used, but...
Can you see it being used in anything that's running currently, or...
I don't know, possibly...
I think it's going to have to be built, some things are going to have to be built around it. I can't see it fitting into any deck at the moment, but again, as we mentioned earlier, there's going to be a lot of cards still to come.
Exactly.
So there's probably going to be a lot of things that's going to be able to complement it.
Exactly. But finally, to finish off the card, you've got Toxic Shelter. So this attack reminds me of you, just being an absolute puss. A pussy.
Tank.
150 damage, and then hide in its little shell and prevent all effects of attacks done to this Pokemon during your opponent's next turn, including damage. So wow. It is pretty much Stardust Jirachi had a facelift.
Jolteon.
But Jolteon's only basics, you scrub.
So this is even better.
So, I don't know. I like it. 150 is a decent amount, especially when you've got that. I know Pokemon Ranger is around. But again, you might have to force your opponent to sort of dig for it, have to try and get it out.
I think that's what this card's all about, is getting your opponent to do things they
yeah,
probably
make them have to
don't want to do.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, you're making them have to work, you're making them have to discard maybe resources they don't want to discard to be able to get out of the positions you're putting them in. I just think it could work. Again, though, it's one of those decks that you're going to...
It's one you're going to have to look out for, I think.
Yeah,
I think it's one of those things that could creep up and you could be playing and all of a sudden someone slams one of those guys down and you're like, oh, crap.
You weren't ready for it because it's not in the meta sort of thing. So, right, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. We are going to move on to Beware GX right now. And this card sort of makes me want to quit playing.
As bad as Gumshoe?
I would say worse, probably. I mean, for a start, I just don't like the look of Beware. I think it looks like a really, really rapey teddy bear. But I don't know. It's colourless, obviously. HP 210. Bear Hug for 3 colourless. 80 damage. The defending Pokemon can't retreat during your next turn. Don't even comment. I don't even want to talk about this. We're going to skip through it as quickly as possible. 4 energy, double impact, flip 2 coins. This attack does 100 damage times the number ahead. Wowie, if you get 2, you do 200 damage. Congratulations. If you want to risk your game on a coin flip, good for you. I'm not going to be playing you. But this GX attack is the attack that just makes me laugh the most. And it's Big Throw GX. Discard your opponent's active Pokemon and all cards attached to it. But why wouldn't you take the knockout, though?
I don't understand how that would benefit anybody. I mean, you're talking about a GX move here, right? It's not a standard move, it's a GX move.
For 4 energy.
4 energy, you're discarding your opponent's active Pokemon. There's nothing else. There's nothing after that. It's just discard your opponent's active Pokemon
and everything attached to it.
And everything attached to it, but
just take
there's cards which are going to be able to bring those cards back.
But I'm not being funny. But just stop being a scrub and get a knockout.
Take the knockout.
Just take.
Nobody
the
wants to be sit there just shuffling hands, in the discard pile. So
just. Terrible card. But luckily that is not in the set and it's not in that additional set either. It is a promo in Japan for right now, so I don't know.
They can keep it.
Don't
come here. Keep it in Japan. Keep it as a promo over there. We do not want it.
So that's endorsed by Firestorm Gym, by the way, so I hope you get that message, Pokemon. So next we'll move on to just the standard Toxapex, not the GX. This card, every time your opponent switches in, they become poisoned. It's the main thing to say about it.
Toxic spikes for VGC.
I don't know. It, again, retreat. I do think that the GX is a lot better. It's got more HP. I don't see why you wouldn't play the GX over this card. I think this card could be a lot better in Expanded, where you've got a lot of things like, Vespiquen, and you've got things to partner it with, because it is a stage 1 you can just throw into things. But, I don't know. Standard format right now, there's not really much else to go on it. But quickly moving along onto Muck. Now, Muck is not Garb, for anyone who is sort of confused about that. They're very different cards. Muck, its ability is, what is it? Power of Alchemy, which is really weird. This isn't like World of Warcraft. What is this?
As long as this Pokemon is in play, each basic Pokemon in play in each player's hand and each player's discard pile has no abilities.
I think it's better for cards. I think it's good. For
it's stopping shaming.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say. It's more the case of, if you can run Garb, great. Like, Garb is really good, it shuts all abilities. But for a deck like Greninja, where you can't run Garb because you want to be popping off those water shurikens, but you do want to stop your opponent from setting up, you do want to stop those hoopers, you do want to stop those shamans, this card could be really useful. I do think that you could throw it into decks like that where you do need your abilities as an evolution. Decidueye could even see some play.
This is a card you're going to want to keep if you pull it, because I think there will be decks in the future which will be brought into the meta game, and this is probably going to counteract.
Not only that, as we've discussed, this is the meta with Garb will only be around for a couple more months. I mean, eventually, unless there is another card like Garb introduced, Muck will become the ability stopping card essentially. So I do think that this card may see some play further down the line, but I think there are a couple of decks you could throw it in right now that are okay.
Looking at the attack, again, very similar to Garb, it's not great.
Yeah, you're just not going to use it.
It's crunch for 2 psychic, a TCE. You're doing 90 damage, flip a coin, if heads, discard an energy attached to your opponent's
you're just not going to want to use that, though.
You're not going to build it up.
What we missed out, though, which is quite interesting, is you might save yourself some room in the deck, because Garb needs a tool to be able to activate its ability, whereas Muck does not state anything saying that. No. You can use Muck straight away. So you could even run a Wally to try and just get the Muck out straight away. You don't need to dig for that float stone. And you're gonna really be locking down your opponent for that turn 1 where they're trying to set things up. Like, I think Mega Ray would really struggle against this. Yeah. Like, I just don't think they'd be able to set up. Same with Mega Gardevoir. I just think with the Dragonite to pull things out the discard, it just wouldn't work. So I do think this will see some play. Maybe not as much as Garb. I think Garb very much dominates the format right now. And even with these new cards, a lot of them are ability based.
They're still going to struggle against.
A lot of them are ability based. I mean, Decidueye is ability based.
We've mentioned a couple already, haven't we?
Exactly.
Which they're good abilities, but again, Garb shutting those off.
And Garb will just be strong until we see that tool removal. So let's keep our fingers crossed, Greninja players, everyone else, that does come around soon, because I hate Garb. Like, I can't even put in words, but I will be trying to, fit Muck into some things, and hopefully we'll be able to show you a deck in, a couple of weeks, maybe a month's time, that uses Muck really efficiently. Because I'm interested to see how good it does at its job. So that is all the cards that we really wanted to cover in the set for you guys today. They're all cards that we're excited about seeing, except Gumshoes and Beware. We just had to put those in there because people would have complained if we didn't. But please don't play them.
It may be one of your favourite Pokemon, from this set, but
don't play it.
Don't play it. Keep it, put it on your wall, lick it, whatever you want to do with it, but do not play them.
But we now are moving on to what is maybe the best part of the podcast, I would say, which is where we'll use some of the sets and the cards we've been talking about in the episode, and we'll try and make you a fun deck out of them. We'll try and come up with a new idea, something sort of out of the blue, sort of out of the air. So the one we've come up with this episode is from the base set. All the cards in it are from the base set, the Pokemon cards, should I say, and it is Sharpedo, Alolan Dugtrio. Now, I really like the sound of this, and I'm going to build this straight away, just for a bit of fun, to pass us over until I get all the cards I need to build some meta decks. But let me walk you through it, okay? Sharpedo. Its ability, rough skin, take 30 damage if you attack this Pokemon.
Okay.
That's pretty rough. Yeah. I think you could run that with a Bursting Balloon, they're taking 90 every time you lay a finger on it. It's pretty nice. It has free retreat, which is really nice.
Again, very nice.
Its attack, though, okay? 1 dark, 2 colourless, 60 damage, plus 20 for every star in your opponent's retreat cast.
Okay.
So, you look at that and
go, a bit of a gamble.
Okay, but wait, let me finish, okay? Because I'm the deck builder here, and I will blow your mind, right? So, there's me looking at that and going, jank. But then, I saw a Alolan Dugtrio, which, its ability, forget about the move, no one cares about the move, okay? You're not going to be using it. Forget it. It's 3 energy for like 50 damage. No one cares. Its ability, for every Dugtrio you have in play, add a retreat cost onto your opponent's Pokemon.
All of a sudden, also jank.
Trollolololol, balololol is all I can say. You throw, and this stacks. If you have 4 Dugtrio out, your opponent has 4 more retreat costs. And if that's 3, if they have 3, they have 4. But then it gets better. Team Aqua's hideout, Team Aqua's base, whatever it is, add 1 retreat cost to all non-Team Aqua Pokemon. So you are essentially, hopefully if you set up right, having 5 extra retreat costs, which is 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160 damage if their retreat cost is free. Wow.
That's pretty insane. That's pretty insane. I mean, guys, also, this isn't going to cost you a lot, so...
Yeah, these cards, both of them are regular rares, I believe. I think they're both hollows in the set, so you shouldn't have much problem pulling these.
Yeah, you're probably going to get a couple of those, maybe at the pre-release. I mean, even...
Yeah, even a couple of packs. I don't think you know, this is definitely a deck for beginners to sort of start to get that feel for the synergy of decks. Things working well together. I think it's cool that they've put these cards together in the set. by no means this deck is going to be the new meta. By no means is this deck going to be fantastic.
But it's going to be fun.
I think it's going to be fun. I think it's useful.
Especially if you use it against someone that hasn't even thought about this deck.
Volcanion would be so fun. Oh my god, so much damage. So that's our deck that we want you to try out. I mean, you can try as many different variants as you like with it. I think that it is really fun. I would run it with bursting balloons, maybe make your opponent take almost 100 damage for laying a finger on you.
You're going to be pretty safe. And again, even if one gets taken out, it's only one prize card. So you're probably going to win the race later down the line with these two together.
Exactly. Right. So with that covered, we will cover one more thing for you guys today, which is the new trainer cards. Personally, there's 4 that we want to highlight. I mean, a lot of them we've seen before. We've seen Ultra Ball before. We've seen Crushing Hammer before. We've seen Energy Retrieval before. But the new ones that take my eye are definitely Nest Ball. Search your deck for a basic Pokemon, put it on your bench. Not necessarily great for things like Shaman or Hooper, because obviously the ability doesn't access. But I think for things like Volcanion, this could be absolutely insane. Put your baby
again,
box
you can
down.
use as many of these as you want.
Exactly.
So
it's just, and you don't have to discard anything. You're not giving anything up. There's no punishment for using the card. I just think it'll be really solid in a lot of decks. And then you have a Timer Ball, which is sort of the opposite. You sort of run a bit more of a risk. You flip 2 coins. If 2 heads, you take 2 evolution Pokemon out your deck. If 1, then 1. If you get none, you don't get to take any. But as I said, I don't like coin flip cards. I find them too risky. I don't. You could easily hit 100%.
Like to, but
you could hit 100% and get 2 evolution Pokemon. You could be 2 turns ahead. But I don't know. For me, I'm really scared of flip coin cards because I have terrible luck. But again, it could see a lot of play, especially with as many evolutions that we have at the minute. I think maybe see some play. But the 2 cards that I really like the sound of. Professor Kukui, draw 2 cards, all Pokemon 2 do 20 extra damage this turn. It is pretty much Giovanni
without the hammer.
With both the abilities on the card without having to select one. I just think this card will definitely see a lot of players, especially in decks like the Sharpedo one we just mentioned, or maybe on the Lapras where you're not quite hitting that boundary of where you need to hit. And Kukui could easily let you draw those 2 cards.
I can imagine it being quite interesting at the beginning of the game, where you're trying to get the cards you need. You're picking up your cards. You're also doing, 20 damage more, which usually at the beginning of the game you're not doing too much damage. So it's definitely going to help you out there.
Definitely, I think it is a card that will see a bit of play. Maybe as a one-off, maybe 2 in your deck. I don't think it will necessarily replace anything like Enel Sycamore, but maybe 1 or 2 in your deck just to get that, if you're doing 200 odd damage anyway, you don't really need this card. But for those decks that maybe don't do quite enough but are almost there, this could really make a lot of decks a lot more competitive. So, and then finally, Team Skullgrunt. I've heard a lot of mixed opinions about this. Look at your opponent's hand, discard 2 energy cards from it. What do you think?
I think it's going to depend on what deck you're coming up against. There's some decks where energy cards in your discard pile is a positive thing, so you've got to be careful what you use it against. I can't see it fitting into every deck, but there's going to be some decks which I can definitely see it being handy with. The
first thing that springs to my mind is Mega Caesar.
Yeah, like straight away. You're already discarding energy.
Yeah, you're already discarding as soon as they get them in the hand as well, and they don't necessarily think you're going to notice. It's gone, straight away.
What do most decks run? 8, 9, 10 energy maybe. So
exactly.
If you're doing that a couple of times,
Yeah, I do. I think it'll be run again as sort of like a one-off. I wouldn't run more than 1 in a deck. You just maybe want to Verseeker this when you find that you're falling a bit behind or something like that. It could be a decent counter to your Beetle. I mean, when they're stacking those energies, you could sort of be able to get rid of those DCE, and they might be running tech, so they don't necessarily run that special charge to get those back. So,
but then don't forget, again, it's a bit of a risk where they have to have those energies in their hand.
Yeah, I guess so. It is. But on the plus side, you still do get a look at their hand.
You do.
So you could see something else that you don't necessarily like in there, and you could end up, doing something about that. You know what's coming next turn. If they do have things, you could see that if they have the evolution for the Pokemon they have next turn, you could maybe try and escape rope it out, sort of switch your Pokemon round. I do think it might see a bit of play. Again, it's one of those cards that
it's not going to replace anything, but it might fit into some decks.
Exactly. Well, I mean, that was a good hour of.
That was a good hour of chit chat.
Good hour of chit chat. I really enjoyed sitting in this room with you, real close together, talking about cards, and
it's been awesome.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Hope you've enjoyed it too. Of course.
Hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously, as we said, this is for you. We are at the end of our first episode. We hope you guys tune in for more. If there's anything we can do to improve our videos, obviously...
Absolutely, guys. This is our first time. Yeah. So if there's anything you think that would improve... if there's anything you think that would improve our video, please let us know and we will try and work on it. Also, any questions, anything you'd like us to discuss, we're open to discuss about it, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we're definitely going to be active on social media. We're both pretty already active on it.
Yeah.
You can follow our YouTube channel, which will be Firestorm Gym. We'll also be posting the videos on our local club page, which is Pokemon at Firestorm Games, and they'll also be on the podcast app for sort of iPhone and stuff like that, and on SoundCloud, all under Firestorm Gym again. So please tune in. Obviously, leave us comments, as Benji said. Be as savage as you like, guys. Obviously, we want this to be as good as possible.
It's cool.
We can take it. Well, Benji can't. I can, but I'll cheer him up. Don't worry, it's fine. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys.
Don't forget about our deck. Don't forget about our Sharpedo, Alolan Doug Trio.
I will make a promise right now for the first video. If someone wins an LC / League Cup / Regionals / Nationals / Worlds, I mean, if you win Worlds, I will literally marry you. But if you win a tournament with the deck that we built any week, I will send you £10 or the equivalent on PayPal. I'll drop the mic right there and we'll finish it on that. Thank you for tuning in, guys. Come back next week and we'll have more content for you. Until then, catch 'em all.
See you later.
See you later.